Hello. This is a reading in a section entitled Universality and the State Beyond. It's by Swami Rama and is from his commentary on the Mandukya Upanishad in a book entitled Enlightenment Without God. Before I read this, though, I want to briefly comment on this word universality. Strange as it may sound, universality, we probably all know this, is not universal. And this is a perfect example. Swami Rama here is talking about the universality of levels of consciousness as mapped out in this 12-verse text, which is entitled the Mandukya Upanishad. There are many, many sectarian religionists who claim that this mantra and this Upanishad, as well as all of the Upanishads, are the property, so to speak, of their religion, the exact opposite of universality. So while we're talking about universality, there is also an opposition to the concept of universality. I just wanted to comment on that because I think it's rather intriguing when we read such a fine writing on the nature of universality. Again, the topic of the section is universality and the state beyond. Attaining knowledge of Brahman directly from within is called enlightenment. The human mind is in the habit of experiencing and projecting pains and pleasures, but when it is made aware of the everlasting truth, one starts seeing things as they are. The mind identifies itself with the objects of the external world and thus places a veil between the aspirant and the reality, capital R, reality. But the moment this self-created veil of Maya or illusion is removed, one attains freedom. The veil of ignorance covers human consciousness on three levels: the states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Unless the veil over all these levels is lifted, the light of pure consciousness cannot shine. Thus, permeating one's consciousness to the state beyond and expanding it to the supreme consciousness is called enlightenment. From the heights of enlightenment, one remains aware of all states, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, and yet remains in the state beyond, Turiya. Before casting off his body, such an enlightened sage lives in the world, yet remains above. He sees himself in the whole cosmos, and the whole cosmos in himself. His self becomes the self of all, the latter self being capital S self. His self becomes the self of all. This direct experience of the oneness of all, of loving all and excluding none, is called Brahmavihara, frolicking in Brahman. This realization cannot be attained through mere reasoning or through the intellect, nor can it be attained through mere study of the scriptures, listening to teachers, or repeating prayers without feeling all day long. The Upanishads say that only the fortunate one to whom the knowledge of the self is revealed can experience the joy and bliss of enlightenment. Unless a student opens the petals of the heart, knowledge of the divine experience is never revealed. Since effort with perfect surrender to the absolute reality alone is the way to welcome the dawn of eternal knowledge and peace. Sorry, let me read that last sentence again. Sincere effort with perfect surrender to the absolute reality alone is the way to welcome the dawn of eternal knowledge and peace. The Upanishads are not religious scriptures, but they can provide the foundation for universality through the practical philosophy of equality, equanimity, love, and universal brotherhood. Modern man is trying to improve the quality of life and achieve the next step of civilization, but without utilizing the concepts explained in the teachings of Upanishadic philosophy, it is impossible to resolve the bitterness of black and white discrimination, male and female chauvinism, ethnocentric egoism, or intellectual slavery to religious dogma and superstition, unless all people extend their hands to help one another, to share with all, and to communicate with all. Humanity cannot be called a civilized species. When humanity follows that universality based on the Upanishadic philosophy, there will be no need for discipline enforced by the state, for codes of conduct, or for courts and churches. People will be self-disciplined and will progress constantly toward self-enlightenment. Humanity has to expand the philosophy of life to enable it to rise above the narrow confines of religion, creed, and ethnic identification. To attain the next step, one has to become a member of the universal family and a worshiper of the supreme reality. When one understands the teachings of the Upanishads, then one realizes that life itself is a sort of worship that can shine on the altar of infinity. The hearts of all individuals should beat in one rhythm. The music of the pulse should resonate to a single melody. The time of practicing and following universality will come, and the flower of humanity will blossom. Then the humanity will share all material things as it shares the sun, air, and rain. This can be done when people determine to enlighten themselves, and enlightenment is possible here and now without the help of the word God. Universality and the state beyond. Interesting comments, huh? Thank you for listening. The text is on Om, the levels of consciousness. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Om is symbol of that reality. Om Tat Sat. Bye-bye.